Hi there, everybody. You are watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage here on YouTube. And I'm making a video today because I'm following up on a project that I took on. I had a table, this table, the one that is looking much better than it did before. It came with a Singer, a 201 Centennial that you see right here. And unlike the machine, which was pretty well protected over its life, the table had seen better days. Now, sometimes we get lucky and you get a table that's just beautiful, but not always. Sewing tables sometimes, when you get them, they have varying levels of their condition will vary. Let's just say, and sometimes it's pretty rough. Now, I've shown some of the work I've done. In fact, I think I made some videos on this very table, and it was in fairly rough shape in terms of its clear coat. And I took this product, which I've shown before. This is called Howard, is the brand. Restore a Finish. Now, to not make a pun, we're not finished. I actually used this product. I worked with some very fine sandpaper, and I did some wet sanding with Restore Finish. I tried different things. I originally just tried a soft cloth, and sometimes that's enough. That's all you need. And then I went to a microfiber towel, which I would never use on a machine, and I tried that, and that was enough. And that's when I started using I think I had 1,000 grit, very fine emery-like sandpaper, and did it use that with the Restore Finish. Now, we're not done though. Remember, Restore Finish is not a wax or a polish. It's actually a product. I actually don't know what the secret of the product is, other than it is a mild solvent, and I think it contains oils as well as colorants. And when I've used it, if you have light scratches and damage to furniture, it can be incredible. Okay, it really works well, particularly on vintage furniture pieces. Now, what I did was in one of the last videos, when I finished using it, I took a soft cotton absorbent cloth and I wiped it down. I wiped down everywhere, the whole table, because I used it on the whole table. I wiped it down and I allowed it to dry. I cannot recall what Howard's suggests in terms of how long it should be left to dry, but this has been several days at least, because I've been working on another machine. So if you have the same success with Howard's, it's not going to make, it's not a miracle thing. It's not going to make it look instantaneously new, but this is a dramatic difference that you see. And of course, in areas that were gouged, like right here, I took one of my furniture. It's like a furniture stain, but a marker, which is a very easy way to, they're felt tip markers, and you can get these in hardware stores. Antique shops often sell them, and so I use that, and it really helps to camouflage away. Sometimes when you get a gouge and it goes straight to the wood. But what I wanted to share with you today is the fact that in order to finish what I started, now that the Restore Finish has dried, it has done its job, but now I need to do that. So this is not a sponsored video. This is just a product I use, and I share the things on the channel to help people who come to the channel say, what do you use? And so for the final sort of finish, if you will, for this piece of furniture, this lovely Singer table, I'm going to use this product. Now, this is called Howard, same brand as the Restore Finish, Feed and Wax. It says wood polish and conditioner. So this product has sort of an orange smell. It is like many wax products. This is a liquid, and so it has some solvent in it. I don't know if it uses citrus terpene, which is a citrus solvent. I don't really know. They don't share the formula with me. However, I have used this in the past and been happy with it. Now, what I'm going to do today, this is kind of like when you're almost done with a project. I mean, you've been working and working, and you save the best for last. And I wanted you guys to see um, exactly what this does. And it's been a while since I showed any kind of sort of furniture. I'm shaking the bottle up. Any kind of wax liquid product, I'm pretty sure requires shaking, and it's kind of it's a very thick liquid, almost not quite a gel. So what do I have here? I have an old remnant of an old shirt. It's clean. It's cotton. There are no buttons on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this, and I'm going to start up here. I'm going to show you what I do with this, and not surprisingly, when you apply this product, and this is probably true of any furniture polish or wax, it gives you a more lustrous appearance because just like with varnishes, when you varnish wood, you're filling in the pores, and that affects the way light is reflected and refracted off of the surface. So, and I just go with the grain here, right? I'm going to come around the edge of the table. Now, you know, that's a pretty big difference. If you guys go back and look at the early videos of this table, it wasn't the worst table. I've had tables that were much worse off than this. So if I come over, I'm going to come over here so you can see the two surfaces. I have really good light today. I really love doing videos in natural light, and if you notice, you can see areas that I have yet to apply the polish. Let's back up just a bit there. Yeah. So depending on how you can see this. So this is very lustrous, almost a very, very low sort of satin finish, not even a satin. But you don't want to leave this unprotected, because remember, Restore Finish feeds some oils to the wood, but it's not a finishing product. So Restore Finish is part of I guess you could call it like a system, if I want to get really fancy with that. So what am I doing here? I'm going to continue to wipe down this part of the table, and then we'll go on to the top, because I'm saving the best for last. That top is beautiful. When I say beautiful, I'm not giving myself credit. I'm talking about the way the veneer was placed on it. So let's see. Let's get a little bit more. See if we can get an angle here so you guys can actually see what I'm up to here. So I'm basically going to do the same thing here. I'm just covering this this part of the table. I am not putting this on my machine, just so you know, and just coming onto the wood itself. And it's called Feed and Wax, and there's a reason for that. There's wax in here, but there's also some kind of ingredient, some oil. I don't know what it is. Again, I don't have a lot of this stuff. It's proprietary, and so wood is very porous, and wood, when wood is new, it's actually it can be full of moisture, but it also has a lot of the natural oils that it has when it's part of a living tree. And what happens is, as it ages, it dries out. Now, when we varnish wood, that helps to sort of seal it, but wood can still get dry. In fact, that's one of the reasons that people used to polish their furniture. With any furniture polish and waxes, different products that they would use. And I suspect that when wood laminate, the plastic imitation wood, was so popular when it came out, I think one of the reasons for that is that people said, oh, I don't have to polish my furniture anymore. And then today, of course, there's nothing wrong with laminate. It's a strong product, but it's not wood. It's essentially it's a sandwich of materials, but there was a time when fake wood was really popular. But this is the real McCoy. This is a hardwood of some sort that the table was made from, and then I believe, I'm guessing at this, it's either mahogany or walnut, and honestly I can't tell. any of my viewers who have more expertise in recognizing wood grains, you might be able to look at and say, oh, I know exactly what that is. But I think the most important thing to note here is not just the kind of wood, but the condition, right? I mean, this is a different world. Now, what am I going to do from here? What I'm planning on doing is, and you know, you can, if your wood is really dry, you can do this more than once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the feed and wax sit there, and then after it's had time to be absorbed into the wood, I'm going to come back and I'm going to buff it, because it's not so much that I'm trying to get it to be ultra shiny. I just want the wood to have the glow that it gets when you feed it something like an oil or a wax. And then I will come back and buff it, and whoever becomes the proud new owner of a Singer 201 Centennial, they will also be the proud owner of a gorgeous table. I hope it's gorgeous. I hope they like it. You guys let me know what you think about it. Oh, and of course I did promise you I would save the best for last. Of course, I've waxed the legs and the front and the back and the sides of the table. They also require the same treatment. They all got the same treatment. Now, I am going to take the Singer 201 and I'm going to unplug the power cord first. It's got a newer cord on here, so it's a little snug, but it is a Singer cord nonetheless. All right, so going to lift up my machine, and of course, as I've mentioned to all of you in videos before, yes, the bolts that are used to hold this machine in place, those set bolts underneath that hold the pins in, they are perfectly secure, and so is this 201. You know, when you work on your machine and you have a machine you value, I've mentioned in an earlier video I made to really emphasize the importance of, you know, these are of course the Singer, these are very common for Singer machines. These are their hinge pins, and now that the machine has been safely tucked away down there, I'm going to fold the two halves of the table. And this is the part that I was saving for last. You know, it's just amazing to me. Well, maybe it shouldn't be so amazing or surprising that I was just folding away the little extension that holds the left leaf or left side of the table up. So this table has just a gorgeous veneer, right? And I believe in woodworking they call this matching or book matching. So they would have cut a veneer and then created these patterns with it. And just, you know, I'm just floored that, you know, I know that you could have gotten less expensive tables at Singer, and however, whenever you did, as you got different wood finishes, wood veneers, you had to pay more. So so this is all this too has been treated with the Howard's Restore Finish, but we're not again finished yet. So we're going to go in here and I'm going to apply the feed and wax. One of my viewers several years ago helped me think of restoration as a form of conservation. Because some people, when it comes to furniture, they want to strip the whole piece and they want to start over. And I don't, you know, there are people who can do incredible restoration work. But you know, you can see here, the difference in the sheen. There are people who can do great restoration work. They're very talented at it, but I try to strike a balance with, you know, conserving, you know, the marks, the patina, the part of the provenance of the piece because someone used this, with, you know, improving or trying to bring back as much of its beauty as it originally had. And this is, you know, I do the same thing with the machines themselves. And so um, that's my approach to it. So, what do you think, folks? It's come a long way. And again, just as I did with the other parts of the table, I'll let this sit for a while and absorb, and then I'll come back with a nice cotton cloth and buff it out. When this is drying, by the way, you always want to leave that open. Remember, I had just put the feed and wax on these insides, so let it dry and do its thing. And we will see. We will see if it finds a new owner. And this is one of those things you get to do. We'll make sure I didn't miss any little areas along the edge here. I was trying not to get the feed and wax on the machine. I don't know what it would do to the machine's paint finish, and I don't like experimenting. So that's why I, in fact, you can actually fold the machine down before you start applying the feed and wax. That would probably make it more straightforward. But I just wanted to remind all of you with this video, not only in how I got this table to look like this, because it didn't when I got it. Wasn't the worst I've seen, wasn't the best. And you know, the potential you have for bringing back your sewing table, so that maybe you want to have it somewhere in your home where you're happy to look at it. And you know, if it's like this table, you know, there are some, you know, a couple of gouge areas here and there, but you clean it up, right? You conserve it and preserve it. And I really think it's helpful, because some of you will get machines and tables. You think, oh God, what am I going to do with this table? Some people paint their tables. I'm more of I like to go back as close as I can to the original. Some of you may disagree. You may say, I want a painted table. It's your table, of course, so you don't need anyone's permission, least of all mine. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for those of you who have been trying to think about what can I do with this sewing table, because I really want to preserve it. I want to keep it, and the tables are fantastic. They just were not always shown a lot of love over their life, especially as they got, you know, passed around or handed down to another generation, or, you know, a neighbor bought something and took it. But this is my approach to conserving and preserving these incredible pieces of furniture that were built for these incredible sewing machines. Thank you all for watching. If you're new to the channel, or if you've been watching my channel for years, either way, I appreciate your support. If you would like to literally support the channel and help me go out finding and seeking and purchasing more of these vintage machines to rescue, to wake up, to restore, to conserve, and then share here on the channel, just click on the Buy Me a Coffee link. You'll see it on all of my videos, and you'll see it on the home page, and it'll take you right to my Buy Me a Coffee page, and you can easily make a donation at whatever level you would like. I appreciate you folks checking into the channel every day, looking for videos. And this should be, I believe, the last of this cabinet restoration series of videos. Thank you all again, and we'll see you next time.